Oh, geez, Zophia's been calling? Oh, geez, it's been like 4 episodes. We should really answer this. Alm is now large. Sheep is in background.
It's rooting for Alm.
Hell yeah, Alm, you got this!
Well done, Alm. We'll end today's training here. Your swordsmanship has come a long way. I've always known you had talent.
After you hid in those bushes when you were a kid? Good job.
Are you, grandfather?
Either I'm getting old or you're getting better. And we both know I'm not old.
You've gotten good enough to not get your ass completely handed to you.
Outside the village.
Don't misconstrue my words, boy. The rule still stands.
You can't leave the village until you can fight a bear.
Child anymore.
But there aren't any bears around the village for me to even try to
If
fight.
I meet with any dangers, I'll have my
Oh,
sword
too
and
bad.
my wits.
That's not what this is about.
Then what is it about? Look, I've heard from the others. I know the drought's made Zofia a scary place. People are starving, and many have turned to thievery and plunder. Brigands loot villages for a mere sack of grain, and soon they'll be at our door.
There's like 5 villages worth of bandits in the world now.
They've been crossing the border for years in violation of the Divine Accord. And with that sacred bond broken, now the terrors have resurfaced as well.
Oh, you know, the terrors. Oh, they're just soldiers crossing the border, and also demons have come to rise again.
Yeah, you don't want to lead off with that, I know there's zombies running around.
The drought's made Zofia a scary place, as have the zombies.
Your wits. So what? Will the grand story of your life be how you met the end of a brigand's axe? Before you dream of changing the world, learn your damn place in it.
You have to understand you're only level 1, Alm.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go pet my sheep.
What's the problem?
Hell yeah, petting.
Why teach me to use a sword if you're not going to let me fight? Every day in this place is exactly the same as the next.
I'm just so bored of this country living.
But you have to let me
There must
find
be
it.
more than this provincial life.
Huh? What's all the commotion? It's coming from the gates.
Oh god, it's Disney's Lawyers. I referenced one of their songs, now they're coming for me.
Alright, so, welcome to a village segment. This was kind of in the original Fire Emblem Gaiden, though it was a overworld that you moved around in, you know, with an overhead sprite view. But here it's basically just some maps you can look around, which probably works out better. Honestly, you don't need to be looking around as Alm. We also got an axe back there, which you might think is an equipable weapon, but as has been mentioned, none of the playable characters can use axes, so no. It's just there to taunt you, basically. They're cute and all, but they're also kind of jerks. That's how I got this arm injury.
I think these segments are cool, but they had to be easier to make for Gaiden, because, you know, you're probably making those maps anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you have to make, like, full 3D backgrounds and everything.
Yeah, in Gaiden you just had to use the tile sets and just, like, make tiny villages out of them, and they weren't super interesting or detailed. And now, yeah, 3D backgrounds, they're very well detailed, a lot to look around in all of them. And now they're, like, voiced NPC scenes. Like this lady.
Well trained their soldiers are, haven't you? We've never toiled or fought for a thing, and we're about to pay for it.
Greedy old man, however, does not get a voice.
He knows what he did. He asked for too much money during negotiations, now he didn't get a voice actor.
The true reason is actually because, for some reason, side quests, aren't actually voiced, so this guy's going to give us something to do. He really wants some wine before he dies. But he's not as important as this woman.
I feel like that's the reverse of how it normally is in video games.
When you were only this tall, and now look at you. Sir Mycen has certainly made a strong young man out of you. I say Sir Mycen, but the story is your grandfather was once a famous general. General Mycen. I always wondered why such a fellow would end up here.
This place is really boring after all, being a backwater village.
We had to name it after the sheep. Because they're the only thing
It's
here.
our mayor. We got here and the sheep was too strong and we couldn't defeat it, so it's allowed us to build this village. We just have to pay reverence to it.
At the end of Chancellor Desay's puppet strings.
I feel like
Grapes and frolic in a
we
surround
give
than actually
me
rule.
way too many
It's no
options
wonder the
to, or
kingdom's being torn apart by
opportunities to reference that one
rebellion
episode of
after
Kirby.
I wish someone would
'Cause I'm
come
assuming
along
it's
and
that
save us from
Ram.
ourselves already.
Ah, he finally found his place. Good.
I can waste my prayers on a
Named like
goddess as
Amon
useless as her.
after, you know, a demon. They 4Kids just let that stay.
Oh, hey, cool, there's a drought in Zofia. Well, I'm just gonna take this drinking water. Hope you don't mind.
Alright, and that's it. Village lives or dies by this well. I will not elaborate.
It won't live or die on this drinking water I took.
Granted, that doesn't need much elaboration. It's just kind of a
This
weird thing to
fellow's here
say
see
and
Sir
then move
Mycen.
on.
He was just about to tell us more.
Alright, so we got a whole cast over here.
But I still can't trust a man in full armor.
After the
Your
incident.
help while you talk to this guy, yeah?
So yes, all of the children we saw before have now grown up.
Can you believe it? What's he doing in our village? You'd have to practically ride off the edge of the map to find this place.
How was sword practice? Everything go okay? Sir Mycen is far too hard on you.
If he goes too far, I'll try to kill him.
He's sure come a long way just to find a whole lot of nothing.
Cliff, you look like you've developed
Brought
omnidepression.
me trouble with
Cliff
him.
is the edgy teenager of the group.
And of course, we already know this
You must
fine
be Sir
fellow.
Mycen's grandson. Alm, was it? My name is Lucas. I fight for the Deliverance.
The Deliverance?
I fight
What's
for the
that?
deliverance and I will
Aren't you
threaten
one of the
civilian
Knights of
lives.
Zofia? The King's Knights?
Do not fuck with me.
Oh, I see. I suppose that means word hasn't yet reached your village.
Like, Lucas didn't have a lot of character in the original Gaiden, of course, but I always interpreted him in that game as, like, a little more aggro than he is in these games, just from, like, his sprite and kind of, his initial dialogue.
I fear so. It seems Desay sold Zofia to the Brigelian Empire, along with his soul.
And they made him huge for it!
I learned this from Dr. Wiley. He taught me how to
Upon
make
Lena's
these
death,
poses.
The Chancellor and the Brigelian army seized Sofia Castle.
But yeah, Lucas in this game is still kind of aggro. He's just not very outwardly aggro.
Sir Clive, of the Knights of Zofia you mentioned, would have none of it. He formed an army to free us from Rigel.
Can we get to say off screen? I don't like looking at him. Look, apparently I can just look to the horizon and I can see him if I really want to, so like, let's get back to the normal screen.
Heroes, Sir Mycen.
There we go, thank you.
See, Alm? Sir Clive would not have sent me were it not urgent. Will you take me to see your grandfather?
Yes, of course.
Lucas just says, "Oh, good," and puts away his sword.
Good goblets. I knew Zofia was in hot water, but is this guy serious? So there's going to be a war?
There's already been a war. God damn it, I forgot Cliff said that.
But that's...
There's been a war and we just haven't heard about
Sir
it.
Mycen rides out to war.
Deliverance already
What happened
almost
to
lost
Alm?
this war.
Yeah.
This war almost started and ended before it ever reached you guys.
Man, it sucks to be in the backwater town. I get what you're saying, Alm.
Lucas, were you able to speak with my grandfather? What did he say?
He said no.
And fuck off.
Mycen made it clear he has no intention of joining the Deliverance.
What? But he's ridiculously strong.
He's OP.
Some stuff
I know how
channeled
strong
with
he
his
is,
eyes
Alm. He said
closed.
no by throwing his sheep at
Why
me.
would he refuse when so many people are suffering?
If you'll excuse me, I need to
Speak
pick wool
Sir
out of my
Mycen's
armor.
thinking, but it seems we misplaced our hopes. I'll have to return to our hideout and bring Sir Clive the ill news. Perhaps Mycen has simply grown too old for the battlefield. It was good meeting you, Alm. I must be on my way. Thank you again for your assistance.
Too bad we're all fucked now. See you later.
He's not old.
He told me he's not
He's
old.
tougher than men half his age. Lucas, wait!
What is it?
I'll go. I'll join the Deliverance.
You?
But you suck.
What the hell? Hey, you can't do that. Wait, can you do that?
Can you just do that?
I'll admit, you fight like a beast and they'd be lucky to have your sword. But this isn't sparring with your Gramps, Alm. You're volunteering to go to war. I know what it is.
I already have the armor for it. Look at this sweet-ass armor.
Consider
I'm wearing it on the box art. It's good.
I understand how you
I'm ready.
Sir Mycen has been
I wear
teaching
this
me useful
every
ways of
day
fighting.
to try and convince Mycen to send me out. I just keep telling him, I'm good to go, coach. Look at me, I'm ready. And he just keeps making me wear the armor for the rest of the day as a punishment.
With my
It
grandfather's
sucks.
gifts. I'll prove he's no coward.
I need to wash this.
He's a warrior who trains warriors.
That might just work.
Huh? Then you mean... Oh, come on. You can't be serious.
Why not? Alm presents a good case.
And I mean, just look at him. He's clearly a protagonist.
Clearly a hero's fire.
He's got a cool
His presence
scar.
is sure to raise the troops' morale. And for my part, I'm curious to see what a self-proclaimed warrior can do. Especially now that he'll be doing it for the Deliverance.
Thank you, Lucas. You won't regret this. I've seen a lot of cake taking in my day.
Mostly for
This
myself.
really takes the cake.
You should back out of this. It's far too dangerous. If anything were to happen to you, just don't do it, okay?
I'm sorry, Faye, but I've made up my mind. But maybe all of you could come with me.
Hey, who wants to come along and maybe die in a war?
Splendid idea. Maybe we could all get impaled on the same...
Yeah, you get it, Cliff.
Cliff, stop
We're
making the
friends.
same jokes as us. Why are we even here?
Fighting.
He's making better jokes. That's the problem.
Cliff, do you want to do the Let's Play?
You already know how to use a sword and a bow. So what's the problem? Are you insane? We were sparring with wooden fences and tree trunks. They don't hit back. Oh, sod it all. I'm not as bright as I'd like to think I am.
I do really like the writing in this game.
Gray, not you
It
too.
doesn't approach like
Me too, Toby Poo.
Whedon
Better than
levels
waiting for
of
Rigel to reach Ram and kill,
snarky,
slash, and slave
but
us. Might as well
just,
bring a
the
fight to
incidental
them.
dialogue is a lot more
But
fun
you're
to read
gonna-
than it normally is
I
in
mean,
Fire
once
Emblem.
Yeah, it's like actually witty, unlike what apparently a lot of writers nowadays do.
We need every
Whedonism
able fighter we can
just
get.
poisoned
There
everybody.
will be much to learn, but I can teach you a great deal in battle. And you'll be given a proper wage, of course.
Wait, you mean we get paid? As in actual money?
This isn't a volunteer soldier position?
Soldiers work hard and sacrifice
Where's the
much.
money coming from?
We would be remiss not to offer compensation.
Clive's just got a stack, and he's hoping he can win the war before it runs out.
I'm assuming him and
Struggle to
Fernand.
make ends meet.
Fernand inherited a lot recently. He doesn't like talking about it.
Tobin, you don't have to go if you don't want to.
So Clive's sugar daddy.
Take time to think about it. Let's split up for now and meet back here later. I need to go thank my grandfather and say goodbye.
Alright, so we got a little bit of walking around to do, so
Take all the time you
I
need,
think that's all Lucas really says. So, voice actors. I guess we'll just start with the main character, Alm, voiced by Kyle McCarley. Gray is voiced by Max Middleman. Tobin is voiced by Robbie Damons. And let's see, going down the list, Cliff is voiced by Chris Patton. Faye is voiced by Amber Connor. And other than... Oh, wait, no, Mycen also exists, though we're going to have a hard time seeing him.
He's voiced by Doug Stone. I remember that one. I brought him up in the first episode because I didn't realize you had a list and was waiting for the right time. And also Doug Stone voiced Psycho Mantis.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to hear Mycen say, "You like to play Sui Koden. How dare you?" So Alma's Kyle McCarley. I was gonna say probably most well known for 9S at this point, but there's actually a pretty good argument to be made. He's most well known for being the gatekeeper in Three Houses among Fire Emblem fans.
Yeah, no, unironically, that's the situation.
Max Middleman is the English voice for Saitama, I think.
Oh, there he is.
And he was the love interest in the first
Tobin.
season of
Does
Agretzko,
this mean you're coming with
whose
us?
name I can't remember.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I can
A
tell
lot of
Mom
Fire
I'm
Emblem actors
worried,
show up in
but I think
Agretzko.
they'll
It's kind of funny.
understand.
Yeah.
Everyone, try not to be amazed when
Robbie
I show
Damon
all
does a
love
fucking
on the
lot.
battlefield. You know they don't
He
pay
has done
extra
some
for
other
that,
Fire
right,
Emblem
Moneybags?
roles.
nothing
My
wrong with
go-to
fighting for
role for
coin.
him is
Many people
Kenshiro
do.
in Fist of North
We
Star
don't
Lost
have any
Paradise because he
rules
does a very good
stating
job.
one's
He's the best
reasons
English
must be
Kenshiro, I think.
Now then,
Mm-hmm.
were you able
And
to say
those are the
goodbye to your
ones that
grandfather?
I know. Other
I
roles
tried,
off the
but-
top of my head.
I couldn't find him.
Well, that is vexing. I suppose we could tarry here a bit longer if you...
It's all right. Let's go.
Oh, are you certain?
I can write him a letter. Come on. We can't wait forever.
So be it. I'll defer to your judgment.
Alright, so we got a whole lot of characters joining the party. We can leave the village now, but first let's talk to the apparently optional characters, Faye and Cliff.
Staying with you no matter what. End
This is a massive newbie trap.
Mm-hmm.
So if I remember right, in Gaiden, Cliff is also optional like this.
You know, I guess I don't mind going along. The Deliverance is fighting all across Sophia, right? Well, I've always wanted to see
And
the world.
it's
and
weird
now's
because
the
like they've
chance.
written it so it kind of
All
makes
I have
sense
to
for
do is
Cliff
not
to
get
require a
killed.
little extra prodding
Easy,
just from,
right?
you know, his characterization up to this point. Why is Faye optional?
That is strange, but real quick, before we leave, 5 episodes in, it's finally time. We've actually got our proper characters as they're going to be for the rest of the game. So, that means Future Me, take it away. We're doing character profiles, are we? Okay, cool. Yeah, right. So, starting out with Alm, the main character of the game. If you're worried about those growth rates you're seeing down there, in comparison to essentially any other Fire Emblem game, don't be. Those are actually extremely good growth rates. Across the board, Alm has both really good base stats and really good growth rates. He is a solid character overall, decent enough movement, has plenty of equipment made for him, so he's got a few tricks under his belt. I would say his resistance is bad, because to be fair, it is. Like, 4 resistance is okay for a physical class, but he only has the 3% resistance, which, again, don't get me wrong, that's bad, but it's not as bad as it could be. Alm is actually, like, comparably not in too much danger from resistance. That's honestly one of his only problems. His other problem is the fact that he's actually the only character in the game with no actual magic table whatsoever. Any other character does have the possibility of reclassing at least, so they can get a few things, but not Alm. He's got no magic to speak of, cannot be a mage. All he has is his exclusive class line, which is amazing, and you shouldn't really be disappointed in having to stick with it. Again, he has a good enough tool set that he really doesn't need any magic. You'll get a fair few things that only Alm can do anyway. Like, he starts pretty good. Unless you actively don't use him, he'll be a solid unit, trust me on this one. And now, as we can see, Gray, in comparison to Alm, is a good starting character. He's got some okay bases, but his growth rates are all a little lackluster, in comparison to alms, and one thing to note is that the villager class won't have permanent growth rates. The ones you see down there are not the ones you stick with. Just a quick spoiler, we will get other classes very, very soon. That being said, Greys don't really change to be anything super amazing. As the game suggests, you are best, of course, putting him on the mercenary class line, just because all of his growth rates will veer in that direction a lot better than they do just about any other. And if you're wondering, yes, you can make him a mage, no, that will not give him a resistance growth rate. He must have a growth rate so badly it's in the negatives, because a magic-based class won't do jack shit for him, ever. You need to use items to give him more than 2 resistance. Next on the list is Tobin, who may not be as even as Gray, but boy, in comparison to a lot of other characters, he can hit things with a 50% skill rate. Again, 50% is actually really good in this game. That is typically the upper level you'll see a character at. So, no matter what, he's gonna be able to hit and crit, and his attack's not too bad. Honestly, he's also just kind of a solid all-rounder. Gray emphasizes the all-round a little more, but 30% luck and 30% defense, that's not terrible. So yeah, he'll wind up a bit slow, but thankfully, the game kind of takes that into account. Gray's kind of the same way. You might have noticed, his base speed stat is actually one of his better starting stats. And that's because he's probably not going to get a lot of speed in the long run, unless he gets super lucky, so that's neat from a game design perspective, but just don't expect Tobin to be the fastest, regardless of what he starts out as. Next off, we've got Lucas. If there's one thing Lucas is good at, it's defense. He is pretty bulky, boasting both a good HP and defense growth rate, and gonna be honest, his starting stats aren't too bad either. If he does have sort of decent starting but slow growing stats, it's probably his attack. 35%'s not terrible, but he'll probably fall behind a little bit. At the very least, though, when you need somebody to block a shot that's not magic, Lucas is your man. Of course, to be fair, a 2% growth rate is better than the last 2 characters we've seen, so you're probably not going to see his resistance go much higher, but unlike Gray and Tobin, you can actually possibly get resistance without an item. Oh yeah, his magic list also isn't great, but, well, I mean, unless you particularly wanted a defensive mage, I don't think that's probably going to be a huge problem for you. And now on to the optional characters. You could wait on Cliff and Faye both, but I can't really recommend that. There's really no reason not to take the 2 of them, especially since, as you might have been able to tell, Cliff is really good. I mean, his base stats aren't, Jesus Christ, 1 skill. Once again, it starts low because his growth rate is actually decent for that, but that does mean that Cliff cannot hit the broadside of a barn for at least a little while. Meanwhile, his luck starts great. You'll probably just be seeing that 10 for a long time, though. And weirdly enough, he also has 0 resistance. He is the designated mage of the group, as you can probably tell from his list, but it's so weird that he won't be able to tank shots from other mages. Though, I guess to be fair, 8 resistance is the best we've seen from all of the characters so far. He'll start well at least, it's just, he'll drop off if any other character can get up to 8 resistance or higher. So, unlike the other villagers, Faye here doesn't really have a designated path, and I'm gonna level with ya. you can pretty much just take her anywhere. Like, any class is good for her. Like, the base stats aren't the best, and she has the exact same skill problem Cliff does, but, like, Faye will probably excel in whatever class line you put her into. You do need a little bit of time, but it's the beginning of the game. You have time to make Faye good. It's also worth noting, hey, yeah, here's the first character where the space of that magic table comes in real useful, because it's actually filled out, because Faye has multiple mage classes. In fact, there's actually one spell missing from that list. Exemplar is missing Restore, which you also get at Exemplar level 1. But yeah, no, she's got a lot of viability as a mage. So I guess in order to not have Faye hog the entire spotlight of the first character profile section, I should note that, technically speaking, every male character should have an extra spell on their list. Guru is one of the DLC classes, but I am including the DLC classes on here for the most part. It's just any male character can be the Guru class except Alm, because Alm can't reclass into that, but yeah, by default, Guru will always get a spell called Lemageddon? Lemageddon. It's Armageddon for lemmings, which is fairly easy given the old lemmings fable. But yeah, I just didn't feel the need to actually put that on there, because they'll always get that spell no matter what. I don't know, does anybody want it on there? I don't feel like it's strictly necessary, but I guess if you really need the reminder that Lemageddon is on every male spell list, then I could probably put that in. Either way, Alm and Faye are absolutely amazing, and technically speaking, you could take any character through a specific path, but yeah, they do all have their designations, Cliff especially. If it wasn't for Faye, he is absolutely the optimal mage, considering he actually gets spells, whereas everybody else gets like 3 at most. 3, maybe 4, there you go. Have fun out there, champ. But yeah, I guess that's it for now, so we'll get back in there, and then I guess you can see this ragtag band of weirdos in whatever fight we'll be doing in this episode. As if I don't already know what that fight is. Alright, so I don't actually know what the character profiles are going to look like yet. I haven't made the template, but whatever.
Oh,
I'm sure she did a good job.
What do I do for this part?
Oh, you don't do anything.
What do I do with
that's feature me?
It's on screen. Okay.
Yeah, no, just pretend that the character profiles were up and you saw them and they were good and they were great and you loved them.
Oh wow, I can't believe you said that about Tobin. It's kind of rude.
Yeah, well, these things happen. Calls them as he sees them. So yeah, I'm just going to show off how the inventory works. As stated before, each character can only carry one item. That's item, singular, be it weapon or food. You can only carry one. Now, food is good for just eating in the middle of a fight to recover HP, so if you want Lucas to just stuff his face with flour to heal, you can do that. In the future, though, it's typically better to just carry a weapon or a shield and just have other characters do the healing. We've got options.
If only people made clothing with more than one pocket in this world.
I've got this backpack for exactly one thing, my flour, which I love. Delicious, delicious flour. Some people say you gotta turn this into bread to make it taste good, but I disagree.
So thanks to Tumblr, one thing I've learned since I've last played this game is that eating raw flour is super, super dangerous. There are bacteria that love to live on wheat that will kill you.
Are you sure about this? Am I sure about what?
Being in a war, my dude?
Grandfather.
I guess that too, but also war.
Sisters to look after them. I mean, sure, they'll miss me. Or I hope they will, at any rate. But family will help them get by, you know? But all Sir Mycen has for kin is you. And all you have is him. I know. But considering he's never let me take one step outside the village,
Fuck
I
'em.
doubt I could have talked him into letting me join an army. Not that it would have changed things either way. I have to go. Not just to prove him as a teacher, but to prove myself to me. Well, you've always wanted to put Ram behind you, right?
Mycen shows up. What's this about getting Ram from behind?
Not allowing this one.
Now, I love you and I support you no matter what, but you're only like 16, so I have to say no.
I don't think so. Although, I admit there might be a little something to what you're saying. It's almost as if I feel someone calling out to me. So you really have gone crazy then? Well, it's been nice knowing you. Look, I know how it sounds, but it's the truth. Do you think it's Celica? What? Celica?
I haven't thought about Celica every day since you left.
I mean, I only talked to her once. Why would I have any attachment to her?
Inseparable while she was here.
Were they?
I guess I did ignore you for a week.
I thought the prologue established they only talked like once.
Maybe it is her. Celica. Are you the one who's been calling me? I know that you're out there. I just don't know where. But I can feel it. I hope this journey will bring us together again.
You can't escape me, Celica.
First, we should make for the southern outpost.
Alright, so here we are on the map. Apparently we have to kick that guy's ass.
For now. But my fellows in the Deliverance have been fighting to reclaim it. The Deliverance hideout lies beyond the outpost. We'd best prepare ourselves for a long journey.
Indeed, we should. So, here we are at Ram Village. Let's take our first step to freedom. But first, let's take a look around this map. We can't really see a lot around here at the moment. Tough-looking guys over there. Let's worry about the first step first. So we can move. Basically, we have to first press A on Ulm and then go towards the target. And yes, the moment we step away from Ram Village, we get a battle. Just leave, and then immediately.
Oi, travelers! Afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to stop right there.
We're the bandits what attack you when you leave the village!
What are you buying?
See? So if you want to be passing through, you're gonna have to pay the toll.
We're the guys Sir Mycen warned you about!
Fuck, what Castlevania character does he sound like
But it's only
from the
been minutes.
Netflix show?
We're still within sight of the gates.
I swear he sounds like one of... I think it's just like one of the two random Cockney guys in the first episode.
Let's clear this
Who it sounds
level
like, by the way. I don't actually think it's the same VA.
Follow me. I'll clear us a path.
If I may, you mustn't rush headlong into battles on your own. Without experience, your friends will never grow into accomplishments.
Yeah, so Lucas is gonna give you a bit of advice here. Alm and Lucas are 100% your strongest characters at the moment. Followed by Gray, then Tobin, and then a tie for worst between Cliff and Faye. So basically, as you usually want to do in Fire Emblem when you have the chance is soften up units with your stronger characters, provided they don't kill whoever you're targeting, and then rush in with the characters you actually want to get the experience, because you get more experience when you kill than when you just defeat an enemy. So what we're going to do here is basically just lure in the first enemies. Lucas has pretty solid defense, of course.
Just say the word.
Ulm is pretty good at attacking, but I left him in the bushes anyway. And we're just gonna gather everyone up behind. So yeah, as you can see, Ulm can already double attack, so you can kind of just wipe the floor with these guys. Even Lucas gets a double attack, which... Bandits, what are you doing?
Oh, I'd be moving slower than molasses today.
You can't touch me.
I was too impressed by that guy's flips. They're good flips.
I knew I shouldn't have put those 10-pound weights in me boots as a joke.
So here's where the game introduces Danger Zone, which just shows you where enemies can move and attack. Always useful. Has been a fantastic feature ever since. Well, they've always kind of had it, but they made it more convenient, I think, in Awakening. Was the first time where you could just press a button and reveal the Danger Zone.
Yeah, they really gave you a highway to that Danger Zone.
Yeah, in the Game Boy Advance games, you just pressed the A button over a unit and it showed you their range, but you could only do that one at a time, which was a bit of a pain. So we definitely want, of course, Cliff and Faye to get the most experience here so that they can play catch-up. Honestly, Gray, for being a villager, unlike Alm and Lucas, still does pretty good, and you might have noticed the symbol by him earlier, which means something specific that we won't worry about yet because we can't do anything with it.
Thank you!
For dying!
I'm glad that you're dead.
This is the first time I've spilled blood, and I'm glad I did it.
You killed me.
Good.
Never count Tobin out.
Alright, I won't. So, I probably mentioned this in character bios, or will mention it in character bios, but, of course, the villager characters you can take in a few different directions overall, but if you want hints as to, where they should be going, there were hints back in the village. If you checked out certain spots, you could see how characters practiced. Cliff burns holes in walls with magic, Tobin uses arrows, and Gray favors the sword. Faye, I guess she just sends her enemies to the Shadow Realm. I don't think I want to know what she does for murder, but she's already good at it.
Yeah, for the 3 villagers that were in the in Gaiden, those grows for the same in Gaiden. So Gray was still best off as a swordsman, Cliff as a mage, Robin at the time was best as an archer. So I guess the reason Faye doesn't have any hints is because she wasn't in Gaiden.
Yep. Oh. Okay, so I think right here he was actually trying to go for the healing panel, which is kind of like an old AI problem that the Gaiden did, where if you hit an enemy, they would kind of just run away and try not to attack you, which is almost smart, but also not. It's also kind of a dumb move, because now I'm just free to kick his ass, and he didn't put any chips in any of my characters.
And he tried to retreat. Jesus Christ.
This is against the Geneva Convention. I don't know if it exists yet. No, he's just trying to go the other way. Oh, well, unfortunately, I don't think Cliff... Oh, wait, no, Cliff can get to him. Good. Okay, I wanted Cliff to get this one.
Yeah, bye.
Alright, so, that's all enemies routed. At the end of any given fight, you're given a summary of who got kills, and you get bonus experience for everyone. You cannot level up from bonus experience, so Faye is just stuck at 99 experience, but it's still very helpful.
Yeah, both this and Gaiden do not create difficulty by limiting the amount of experience you get. They create difficulty in other ways.
We probably won't see that next time, though, but nonetheless, we'll see something in the next episode of Fire Emblem Echoes.
God, the map music is just written in my bones.